Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Ashley, do you have any public comments in writing that was submitted to you for the jail board?
I did not receive any written comments for tonight.
All right, thank you. Could I get a motion to approve the meeting for tonight?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Could I get an approval to approve the regular meeting that was on March the 20th, 2024?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Superintendent, how you doing this evening?
Doing pretty good,
That's good, sir. Good, good.
pretty good. Good evening. You turn to page 16 in your report. So our operational capacity is 871. Our management capacity is 1320. The average daily population on the complex is 533. Transfers to the state system in March were 38. April was 5. Commitments for March was 656. April was 571. Releases for March was 696. And April was 592. Process only in March was 78. April was 77. You turn to page 17. The average daily population for March was 561. The high for the month was 598, which was on the 4th. Page 18. For April, average daily population was 531. 547 was the high for the month. That was on the 7th. If you turn to page 20. We currently have 62 sworn vacancies, 10 civilian vacancies with a total of 72. Vacant positions are posted on 17 websites. Under Prison Rape Elimination Act, we had 1 sexual assault under threat of bodily harm, and we had 1 substantiated harassment complaint. Under career development, we've had 14 jail staff graduate from the Basic Academy. We had 3 staff attend crisis intervention training. We had 8 staff attend the Virginia Association of Regional Jails Training Conference in Virginia Beach. We've had 47 staff do spring firearms training with a shotgun. Number 4 is our main building repairs. The contract for the sanitary pipe replacement project, the contract for the sanitation pipe project was awarded to Taft Construction. They were given notice to proceed on May 3rd of 2024. The project includes updating the HVAC system, conversion of the old laundry room to usable space. This work is expected to take 4 to 6 months. Number 5, evidence-based decision-making. Since 10/19/21, we've given out 806 boxes of Narcan, given to inmates upon release. And there's currently 114 inmates receiving medical assisted treatment. And there's currently no COVID positive between staff and inmates in the facility. Last Thursday, we had a bomb threat. We released a gentleman from downstairs. He left the lobby, went outside, come back in with a paper bag, walked past our security into the bathroom, come out and informed the lobby staff that he had planted a bomb in that bathroom and was holding his cell phone, was going to detonate it. The county police were notified. They come in and with some conversation, the phone was taken from the gentleman and he was taken into custody and charged. He still resides with us now for those charges. That's all I have, sir.
I have a question. May I ask?
Question, Lieutenant.
In the previous meeting, we had a substantiated sexual assault.
Mhm.
Is this a second one, or is this a repetition of the first
This is the second one.
one? Okay. And at that time, I asked what had been done with that particular case. What's that?
So the victim and the accused are separated. They're placed in lockdown for observation. Our mental health staff talks with the victim. If they talk with him on a regular basis, every couple of days, unless they need to be talked with, then he will ask them and they will come see him immediately. The accused is given a disciplinary report and he's locked down. He's placed on admin seg, so he's not allowed to be around people again to prevent any other incidents with him.
That was my question.
I have a question. On the bomb threat, what was in the paper bag?
Close. The Virginia State Police bomb unit came in and they removed the item from the jail and found out it was closed inside of it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other question for the superintendent? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Budget update.
So if everyone wants to flip to page 32, I'll start with the year-to-date financial results. As of April 30th, so 10 months into the fiscal year, we have billed $53.8 million in revenue, which represents 86.8% of our budgeted revenues, which puts us ahead of budget schedule, with just being 83.3% of the way through the year. So we are on track, and then some with the budget on the revenue side. On the expenditure side, we still have 21.4% remaining to spend for the 2-month period in the fiscal year, which is just slightly more than what the rest of the year entails, but some of that is due to project funding that will not be spent through the end of the fiscal year and will be carried into next year. But we are still remaining in a position where we are adequate on the operational funding side to complete the remainder of the year. On the ICE billing side, we billed 3 days of ICE inmates to the Department of Homeland Security in March and 1 day in April. On the budget update for fiscal 2025, as you all know, the County Board of County Supervisors adopted the budget on April 23rd, 2025, with no substantial changes from my last update on the budget for ADC. Upcoming on the county side for Board of County Supervisor agenda items, we will be presenting in late summer, early fall, a request for general fund contingency funding for fiscal year 25 to fund the operating costs for an off-site training facility. We hope to lease a space from the city of Manassas that will replace our annex building, which is scheduled for demolition in the Judicial Center expansion project in the next 12 to 18 months. So we are working diligently with county leasing facility staff and the leasing office through them to develop that leasing opportunity with City of Manassas. That will be a 5-year lease. That's the max term that they're willing to give us, but we will take it, and that'll give us 5 years to determine a permanent plan of action to relocate our training facility.
excuse me, I'm gonna interrupt you for a
Of
second.
course, any questions?
Could you and Major Hurlock explain to the board why we are having to move our training facilities from our current location to Manassas?
Sure, so the annex building out in the parking lot, that little white building, is what we utilize today for training. And if you want to look back at your previous board package, I believe I provided a picture of where that sits in our parking lot. But that has classroom space, and all of our academy, our basic jail academy classes are held there, as well as our in-service training for our sworn staff, and really any of the training needs for our facility are in that building, as well as the staff for our Office of Professional Standards sits in that building. And then we have some transition team staff as well, and then of course a lot of storage area. So that will become part of the footprint for the Judicial Center expansion project. They will need that land. They're going to demolish that building, and that will leave us without a training space. So we hope long-term to overlay in the master plan out at the Public Safety Training Center site to get at least a little piece of land to construct something for ourselves out there, but that's going to take some time to develop. That's going to be a change to the master plan, so it takes time. We'll have to work with Facilities Construction Management and their team to try to see if that's even feasible. So in the meantime, the short-term lease opportunity allows us that flexibility to have continuity of operations in our training, and then also explore those other opportunities for long-term, more permanent solution. Any questions on that?
Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, sure. On the commissary updates, I'll start with the fiscal 2024 and where we stand now, and then this is the time where we'll discuss the 2025 budget, so I'll do that secondarily. Right now, year to date on the commissary funding, we have spent about $480,000, which is about 42% of the budget. Some of that is timing of projects, so the bulk of that that low spend is that our gym flooring project right now has been delayed. We were waiting for warmer weather. They have to power wash and paint before they lay that floor. They need weather to be consistent, 60 degrees, no rain. So that's been a bit of a challenge, but we are actually rocking and rolling on that coming up in the next week or two. So we hope to have that done by the end of May. However, that has stalled us out a little bit. We did make a deposit on that project, which is represented in the year-to-date spend, but that funding is still on the table. And then our television infrastructure project, we haven't spent those funds to date because we're mitigating some challenges with our modular facility and integrating that into the overall upgrade that needs to happen on the Comcast side. And so that project, because we now have inmates out in the mod because of the piping project, has been delayed as well. So we need to scoop everything in all at once. So I have requested to also bring that funding forward so we can accomplish that in fiscal 25 once the piping project is done and we have access again to the modular facility. So otherwise, just some timing delays on the commissary, but we've been very fiscally prudent on spend in the commissary this year so far. And as I mentioned, just because of SOP 5107 and disclosure to the board of any item spends over $2,500 to $4,000 range, we did make that initial deposit of $54,215 for the gym flooring replacement project in April, but that was the only item that fell into that disclosure range. In addition to the finance updates on the commissary, we did have 2 contract updates that I wanted to inform the board of. We solicited the commissary management services RFP in January, February timeframe, and we selected a vendor in April and awarded that work to Keefe Commissary Network. That is a change. We had Oasis, and now we will have Keefe Commissary. That being said, pricing-wise, we did very well with that contract negotiation. We negotiated a commission rate of 49.5%, and currently Oasis is at 49.28%. So we feel very comfortable with the cost of things in the market today that we did very well in pricing. That on an average basis, an annual basis, is just a difference of about $1,200. So we did very well on the pricing side. So the sheriff has signed that contract this evening. And we will move forward in that change. on the commissary side. The second contract RFP that we were due to solicit was for reentry services. That was awarded in March, and we reselected GEO Reentry Services for that one. Right now, their current contract that's expiring had a 2% annual increase in it. Their new contract will have a 3% annual increase. But again, considering the market, we feel that that pricing was very reasonable. The sheriff also signed that contract this evening for the board. And then just upcoming, this isn't in here, but I just learned this today. In the August-September timeframe, late summer, early fall, we will go out to market for inmate dental services. That contract is expiring, so that will be the next solicitation that I will bring before this board, and is a contract that falls under commissary. Any questions so far? Okay. And I just gave you a little bit of detail on the year-to-date expenditures in your packet if you're interested. Nothing that I haven't already mentioned, so I'll just skip through that. And go to commissary cash balances. We ended the month of March at $2.3 million in commissary funding, and in April we were down to just below that at $2.28 million. So the funding there is relatively stable. On the inmate trust account cash balances, we ended March at $51,630 in inmate account balances. And in April, that sits at $55,813. And then we'll get into the commissary budget, which is the column in green back on page 33, if you want to sort of flip back and forth, but I'll give you the highlights, the changes, if you will. Everything else is really just the same as last year approach. Starting with the chaplain programs for fiscal 25. Typically, the chaplain programs only request a nominal couple $1,000s for just ancillary expenditures this year. We request the commissary to fund a $35,000 annual stipend to the News Jail Ministry program, the chaplains program. He had a large donor that he lost in 2023. He has not requested any funding from this jail for 18 years. This is very comparable to to the funding levels that surrounding jurisdictions of our size give to this programming. Fairfax gives $50,000 to this, Arlington $25,000, Montgomery County, Maryland $40,000, Virginia Beach $30,000, and Anne Arundel, Maryland $50,000. Those are sort of comparable size jurisdictions. So he has requested that for consideration this year. As I mentioned, the gym flooring project, I've requested to carry forward just 196 of the 350,000 budget. We will come below budget on that project. We will not spend that 350, so I've decreased that, taken out that 50,000 deposit, and requested that to carry forward to fiscal 25, which is when I believe the bills will actually come in for the work performed in May. If that changes, I will bring forward an amendment to the budget to take that back, as we will, if we pay those bills prior to June 30. The MAT program, we have increased that by $20,000. We may possibly have to support inmates or honor their prescriptions who are taking Sublocade, which is the shot version of the MAT. And if we move into that potential, those shots are upwards of $1,500 to $1,900 a pop, and they're monthly, which is a lot different than the MAT pill program. So in anticipation of that, we'd like to increase the funding for that program. We've also added a brand new line item for mental health programming. And requested $20,000 in support for that programming. The new mental health director here would like to build out some programming for the inmates surrounding mental health and wellness. The first of which will be weekly yoga classes for both male and female, all inmates. And then she would like to build those programs out throughout fiscal 25. So that funding is requested to support any mental health programming. The GEO reentry services, that's That's just an increase of 3% from prior year for that new contract cost there. So that brings that up slightly. I just wanted to point that out. As I mentioned, I'd like to carry forward that television infrastructure funding so that we can tackle that project in 25 as soon as we're done with that piping project. And then on the workforce work release programming equipment, the program is in need of a couple new mowers. So we've asked for a slight increase in that funding for $25,000 to support those mowers for those guys. And beyond that, it's just typical, but I'll let you guys look at it, and if there's any questions. That does actually, despite the increases, I have also decreased some line items that we don't typically utilize. So overall, that brings the budget request for 25 to a 4.4% decrease over 24, which is just shy of $50,000 decrease in total. There's no questions. I just need a motion to approve, but
We did have one question.
of course.
The mental health programming number stood out for me, but I think there's a distinction here between mental health programs and mental health services, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Services are funded by
Are
the
funded
agency.
separately. Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Good question.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
on page 32, page 1 of your report,
Mhm.
I'm sure that you meant to say that the Board of Supervisors approved the budget on April 23rd, 2020.
I did. Thank you, sir. It was fiscal 25. Good catch. Thank you. I work in multiple years at once, so thank you for that.
Any questions from Budget Director concerning her report? If not, could I get a motion to approve the commissary budget for FY, is that gonna be for FY 25?
Yes, sir.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Please call the roll, please.
Ms. Ashworth?
Yes.
Mr. Austin?
Yes.
Reverend Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Clymer?
Yes.
Sheriff Hill?
Yes.
Captain Marks?
Yes.
Chief Newsham?
Yes.
Mr. Torres?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the election of jail board officers and appointment of jail board secretary. Tell you what I'm gonna do first. Why don't we have a motion to appoint the jail board secretary first? How about that? We have a motion.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Ashley, you're gonna be with us for another year.
All right, happy to be here.
And I must commend you for making the suggestion to email the agendas.
I'm glad it worked out, yeah.
It's a lot of paper, but, you know, it's a good idea. I think it works out okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're very welcome.
All right, next, need a motion to appoint the chairman for the jail board for another year.
So moved.
Second.
Wait a minute, you didn't say who.
I move that Sheriff Hill be the chairman for the year to come of the jail board. Second.
All in favor? Any questions? No, we have to close the nominations first, right?
You do, yes, sir, yes, sir.
I need a motion to close the nomination.
I move that we close the nominations.
Second.
Second.
There was a second now.
Let's climb with
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for.
You have to ask for nays too.
Now you
I'm
have to
sorry, I
appoint me
did.
now. All right. Now we need a motion to appoint me to chairman now, all right?
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Somebody do it. I move that we appoint Sheriff Hill.
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Ashworth?
Yes.
Mr. Austin?
Yes.
Reverend Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Clymer,
Yes.
Sheriff Hill,
Yes.
Captain Marks,
Yes.
Chief Newsham,
Yes.
Mr. Torres.
Yes.
Now we need a motion to appoint a vice chairman. He's not here, but I'd like to appoint Chief King. He's always been a good partner to work with over the time. And
I second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we need a motion to close the nomination for,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Sounds good. Now we need a motion to appoint Chief King to be the vice chairman for 1 more year.
I move that Chief Keen be appointed as the vice chairman for 1 more year.
Thank you, Chief.
Second.
Any questions? Please call the roll, please, for Vice Chairman King.
Ms. Ashworth,
Yes.
Mr. Austin,
Yes.
Reverend Bailey,
Yes.
Ms. Clymer,
Yes.
Sheriff Hill,
Yes.
Captain Marks,
Yes.
Chief Newsham,
Yes.
Mr. Torres.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Starting with jail board comments, Ms. Clymer, we'll start with you, and we'll come this way.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Reverend Bailey, we haven't seen you for a while. Bring us up to date.
So, yeah, due to some administrative things, I wasn't here last time, March, and I found out on that day, I think, that I was supposed to be because I'd been reappointed. So glad to be back again, to work with you all. I think the work here is very important, and I'm very committed to it, so thank you all very much.
Thank you, Reverend Bailey. Ms. Torres?
Before I make my comments, I just want to have some questions, if I
Please,
can.
please, go ahead.
First question is, can you give me an update of Colonel Belletti's status of health? How is he, the superintendent? I haven't heard anything about.
The superintendent is still in recovery, and I talk to him every week, and hopefully we'll be hearing some good news from him shortly.
Okay, I just wanted to know that he was en route to good health.
Yes.
And number two, I don't know if or when are we gonna talk about this, but when I came in, I saw an encampment out there. So at one point, somebody has to tell what's going on. There's Ed certainly would like to know, what's that and how it's gonna be handled, or if it's gonna be handled. So that's the other question that I had.
All right. Good. Ms. Pendak, would you like to respond to that, please?
I can only partially. The property that those tents are on is county property, county courthouse property. It is not adult detention center property. And so I understand that the county is aware of it. I do not know what, if any, action will be taken. They are family members and friends of an inmate in the adult detention center named Mustafa Al-Jaziri. And that's all I can say in that regard. I don't know if Chief Newsham has anything more to share, but it's a county property issue.
County attorney and the county executive are currently evaluating the situation and trying to balance any violations of the law with folks' First Amendment right to assemble. And it's a very difficult issue to resolve, and so it's under consideration right now, and I think there'll be more clarity. There's a meeting scheduled for Friday morning on steps moving forward, and we wouldn't discuss any law enforcement action prior to it occurring.
Certainly, I understand that. And I wasn't even aware that I thought that being so close to a secure facility, that was part of the adult detention center. And it isn't, but.
The jurisdiction out here is a little convoluted.
Yeah, I know, and there's another part that is Manassas, I guess, too. So it's complicated. And in that same subject matter, not the incumbent, but uh, there was some issues that we raised at one point in time with the colonel in terms of investigating certain things, certain allegations that this family brought here. And then an independent agency, the FBI, came in and did an investigation, and we actually found out the result of that investigation. But then there was another agency, a state agency of Virginia, had to do with the health, that came in and did another investigation, and we haven't heard what was the result of that investigation. They were investigating about the treatment.
Major Rock, I can briefly respond, and then.
Please,
I think, obviously, we would be careful with respect to any privacy protections of the inmate. But to my knowledge, that state agency has not issued a report yet.
Not yet.
I will tell you, this is public, that a federal lawsuit was filed in the Eastern District of Virginia. There was a request for an emergency medical care, and Judge Hilton denied that request.
That's fine. I need, so we'll go into the weeds of it, but I just want to know where something starts, how something ends. That basically what satisfied my role here. Thank you for the questions, and I have no comment because I have just exhausted my time with that.
All right, thank you, sir. Ma'am?
I have no comments. Thank you.
Mr. Austin?
A couple of things. I did have the opportunity to attend the jail basic graduation back in March, and it was with 14 graduates. It was great to see the graduates, and great to see that you have new people coming on board. So congratulations to the graduates. I also wanted to mention a couple of system issues that I'm involved in that are, I think, positive. We implemented the public safety assessment, the new pretrial risk assessment back at the end of March. So far, it's going well, being well received, I think, by most stakeholders. And we're now able to assess 100% of individuals who've been held. So we can give a good bit of information to the court when they're making conditions of release once they've decided if they're releasing someone or not. So that's what the purpose of the instrument is. So that replaced the Virginia pretrial risk instrument that we've been using for about 20 years. Also, the drug treatment court had its first graduation back on May 2nd. A big deal, and it was great to see that happen in circuit courts. I just wanted to tell everybody about that. And if you have an opportunity in the future to attend a graduation, it's very uplifting. And it's good to see people who do well, because there are plenty of people who come into the criminal justice system and actually improve. It happens. A lot of us here don't get to see that, but this is an opportunity where you do get to see it. And in the same vein, the Veterans Docket on May 1st had its I think, third graduation, 6 graduates of the program, and that was great as well, and that was in the General District Court. So that's all.
All right, thank you. Captain?
Good evening. No comments for the group.
Thank you. Chief?
I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that this is Police Week, and that we, during this week, we recognize the more than 23,000 law enforcement officers that gave their lives in the line of duty. We've had a number of recognitions for the family. I say this to everybody when I speak on this issue, is that our heroes who gave up their lives in the line of duty are probably in a better place. I'm sure we will see them again, but they left behind survivors who have had to endure a lifetime without their loved ones. And that's why we do all the things we do, is in recognition of those families who've lost somebody in the line of duty. So I thought it was important that we mention that.
Thank you. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that last week was Correctional Employee Week, right? I enjoyed the lunch. I came over both days and had lunch and talked with employees. Victor Anger, Board of Supervisors, he came by. I wish we could encourage more board members to come by and visit our facility. I must tell you that our employees do an amazing job. A lot of people don't realize what goes on inside of this building, what happens in the day. doesn't happen at night. And what happens on weekends doesn't happen during the week. It's just one of those places that a lot of things happen. When we talk about not only security, but education programs, recreation programs, religious programs, so many things happen in this facility. And since I've been part of this for a lot of years, I just have a lot of admiration and support for the correctional officers that work in these facilities. You know, coming in here working for 12 hours, it's not easy. It's not easy. And some of the verbal abuse that they have to go through every day they come to work is something a lot of people could not endure. So I hope you enjoyed last week. The food was good. I enjoyed it. And I know we mentioned that the budget was approved last week. And I know a lot of us here have our own agencies, but it still doesn't hurt if you can talk to the Board of County Supervisors to advocate more pay and compensation for our correctional officers. I know sometimes, you know, we have to look out for our own budgets, but we also need to look out for our correctional employees. Okay, thank you. All right, and thank you for the trust you put in me to be chairman for another year. I absolutely enjoy coming over, seeing these guys and talking to them. Some of the inmates that I see, you know, the inmates cut the grass around the facilities, and I was talking to those guys out the other day, and they're doing a good job trying to keep up with the rain and everything to keep the complex looking good. And of course, it's a cost-saving measure, but it also gives them opportunity to get out and do some things. I know we talked about the equipment, and that equipment that they buy comes out of the commissary account, comes out of the profit from the commissary account. So the public is not buying the lawnmowers. It's actually being bought by the profits from the inmate account. So that's good. All right. So thank you. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Did anyone get an escort in that needs escort?